Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Learning to Play City Skylines with me, Rhygar from Rhygar Gaming. Today we're going to carry on building a city and we'll look at some new features as well. We're going to add a couple of more mods in. One is called the Automatic Pedestrian Bridge Builder, which will allow you to create your pedestrian bridges and pedestrian paths much more easily because it can do it automatically for you. So awesome mod there. And also we're going to look at the extended building info mod. That will just give you more information when you look at your buildings to see what kind of requirements they need for leveling up and so on. It's a really useful mod to have as well. And we're also going to look at district styles so that we can have different styles of buildings in our city. So if you go to my mod collection link, which is in the description below, just click the show more button if you can't see it. And it'll take you to my mod collection, and then if you find automatic pedestrian bridge builder and click on the plus, I've already added it into my one. Just click on the plus to subscribe to it, or you can search for it on the Steam Workshop as well. So that's the automatic pedestrian bridge builder, and the other one we're going to use is the extended building info mod. So click on the plus for that and subscribe to that as well. Alright, so let's go to the game. Now, when we create a new game and we choose one of the maps that's provided for us in the base game, you'll notice that down here it will say what the base theme for your map is. So this map is a European theme. Go to Diamond Coast, it's now got the base theme is tropical. Foggy Hills is European. Grand River is European. Green Plains is boreal, and so on. So there's boreal, temperate, tropical, and European are the ones which come with the built-in game. So the European maps will use European style buildings. Any other base theme will use the vanilla game theme. So the European style buildings was added later on after the game was released, and that will determine the type of buildings that will grow in your city when you zone residential, industrial, and commercial. So we want to look at, well, how can we use either or all of these? So at the moment you can't change the base theme, it's set to the map itself, but we can change a setting for it to allow us to use both the European and the vanilla buildings in the same map. So if we go to Content Manager, and then if we go to the styles option, at the moment it'll only choose either European or vanilla when you load a map. If you turn this setting on, so just comes up with a disclaimer, just click don't show again and I understand. If it does cause you problems, you can always turn it off again later on, although if you've used buildings and then you turn it off, some of those might disappear, so just be aware of that. So if we turn that on, it means we can use both European and vanilla style buildings in the one city. And then you can actually create your own styles and add your own assets to create your own unique style. But using the built-in Content Manager and Style Manager is not so good. It's not the best way of doing it. So again, there's another mod that will actually do it much easier, allow us to do it much easier for us. So we'll look at that mod in a later episode. So this time we're just going to use the base choice of European and vanilla. So we can choose which of these buildings we want to appear in our map. So turn that on. Even if you don't use both of them, you can always leave it on, which is perfectly fine. Although it will probably load up all the assets for both themes, so that's going to chew up a little bit of memory as well. So if you don't have too much memory in your computer, then maybe it's best just to stick with the base theme. Sweet, so let's load up our game that we had last time. So we'll load up Renville 13. Now at the moment, I've turned the extended building info mod off so we can see what the default view looks like when we look at a particular building. Sweet. So we also want to look at the automatic pedestrian bridge builder. So we want to do that first. We'll look at that one first. So that should be in our landscaping area, and then if you go to the paths section, you'll see the button for the pedestrian bridge builder. So just click on that, and then you can choose what type of styles you want, what the elevation needs to be, and whether you want to go under a tunnel, and what the level of the steepness of your pedestrian bridge actually is. So I'm just going to play around with this map. We'll reload it again later on. You can see here that we could put some pedestrian paths across here, right, for this little cul-de-sac here, so that people can walk to either sides if we wanted to. Now we could do that by just doing it manually and then just putting it across and doing it that way, but we can use the pedestrian bridge builder for us. So this one, we don't want a bridge, we just want to go straight across. So if you click on your segment of the road here, you can see that it's going to connect to the segment of the road over here. So if you just click, it puts the path in. No need to worry about connecting it up. It just automatically does it for you, which is really cool. Now, the elevation setting doesn't make any difference because we're not doing a bridge. So, which is perfectly fine. So click on that one, puts a bridge in, a path in there. Click on that, puts a path in there. So that's a really fast way of being able to put in your paths. Sometimes it doesn't match up exactly where you want it to go, in which case you would need to do it manually. So let's see if I can find an area where we want to do something a little bit different. So maybe down here, if I do this, let's just take these away. So if I do that, it only gives us this particular option here, right? So it doesn't give us the options that we had before. So you can't really change that. It just gives you a default option. So in which case, if you want something slightly different, you will have to do it manually yourself. Now if we take this road here, because it's a busy road, maybe we don't want crossings across this road. We want to create bridges so that people can walk from this side of the road over to this side of the road. So you can see if you hold your mouse in the middle of the intersection, it highlights all of the segments. So those are all the roads it's going to connect with a bridge. If you click, it sticks a bridge in for you. Pretty cool, right? So it'll take you quite a while to do that yourself. So that's pretty awesome. Can we go Control Z? No, you can't undo it. But obviously you can bulldoze that away if you want to. So let's try a few of the different settings. So let's try a star, see what difference that makes. No, that's only for roundabout, sorry, so that doesn't work. Let's try a different elevation value. So let's make the elevation 20, see what happens. So you can see it's much higher than what we had before, right? So yeah, so that looks a bit odd if it's so high, but maybe you have some special things where it has to be that particular height. So let's delete that again. And let's try the steepness value. So if we reduce the slope down, it should slope it a bit more, I'd assume. Oh, that looks pretty cool. So by having to use less of a slope, no, that doesn't look like less of a slope, does it? But that is an interesting pattern. Yeah. I don't think I'd want to walk along that one, that's for sure. Okay, so that didn't seem to work out quite well, so let's bulldoze that. So let's reduce the height this time, put it back to 10, and let's try a bigger slope value and see what it gives us. Let's go slope of 2. Oh yeah, so it's very high, right? You can see that the slope is just, massively high there. So the bigger the slope value, the higher it will actually be, which is not what we want. So you can always play around with those values to do what you want it to do. We just need to reconnect that road. Sweet. Alright, so we can build the bridge, but we can also do a tunnel bridge. Sweet, so if we just click on this, and you can see it builds tunnels for people to walk underneath. And if we go page down, just click out of this first, page down. Oh, let's click on the bulldozer, go page down, there we go, then we can see it. So you can see that people go down, they use the underground tunnel. You can see people that they're actually walking underneath there to get across the other side of the road. and you can see that it will get rid of the crossings that we had on the road. So they're still there, but they won't use those crossings, they'll be disabled. If we go to Traffic Manager, I'm pretty sure they're disabled. Go to Junction Restrictions. Yep, you can see that all the crossings are now disabled. So the Automatic Pedestrian Bridge Builder mod will do that for you. Again, if you want to delete your underground pedestrian paths, then you can use the bulldozer and just delete them. Sweet, so that's how we can build it. You can also build it just for a crossing from one side of the road to the other. So if we look at this road here, you can see there's a median here, which means people can't cross that road. So if I wanted a crossing to go across this road, we could build one manually ourselves, or if we go back to the Pedestrian Bridge Builder mod, if you just select that, I'd had the underground one. I'll leave that there, and we'll turn tunnel off. So if I click on this, you can see, whoops, that didn't quite work. Let's do that again. Probably because I have these here, so let's delete those. Let's try that again. So if I click here, you can see it builds a nice bridge for you. I needed to reduce the slope, which isn't quite so good. Although, if we have the Move It mod, we can just drag that out, which is quite cool. Awesome. So you can easily build pedestrian bridges where you need people to cross, and that way it doesn't affect the traffic. And also, if you use median roads, then it gives people a way to cross the road, which is really cool. So let's have a look at how we can do it with roundabouts. So we've got some roundabouts here. We don't really want people crossing on the roundabouts. Alright, so if we look at Traffic Manager, go to the junction restrictions, you can see that all those crossings are actually turned off. So if you were to build your own pedestrian bridge, it'll probably take a while, and that's fine if you want to do them manually, that's all good. I'm just not that good at doing that stuff. So let's reduce the elevation is fine. Let's reduce the slope back to the default, which is 1. Cool, elevation is 10. So we'll try the different style. So we'll use the star roundabout first. So again, if you just select your roundabout, click, and it creates that. And then any buildings which are affected by that roundabout should disappear. So you can see that building's disappeared now because it can't exist with the path coming in there, which is kind of cool. So we can see that we have a really nice cool roundabout, and it gives people a nice way to get across to any side of the road that they want. So that's the star one. Let's have a look at what the inner roundabout looks like. Cool, so we'll choose inner roundabout, click on that, and you kind of get a roundabout in the middle there rather than what we had before. So it's just a matter of preference, and obviously if you want to use some more unique designs, then you could look at videos that other people have done and come up with your own unique designs as well. I'm really not too fussed. I'm quite happy for this mod to do the work for me, which is awesome. So we could have one star one there, one star one there, one in and roundabout there. And of course, if you use tunnel, so that means you don't have it over the top, you can do it underneath that way. I prefer to have them above ground because it just kind of look cool when you look at your city, which is awesome. Okay, so that's how we can build pedestrian paths and bridges really easily using the Automatic Pedestrian Bridge Builder mod. And big thank you to the person that created that particular mod. Sweet. Alright, I'm going to reload the game, and that way we'll just start off with our fresh city, and we're going to look at the extended building info mod. Alright, so if we come down here and look at one of our houses, you can see that it's upgraded to 3 levels, but it's halfway across into the 4th level. So you get a little bit of information if you hold your mouse over this. So it says increase the value of the land to allow the building to be upgraded. Parks, plazas and good services increase the value of the land. So if we look at the land value view, you can see that the blue areas were kind of halfway good land value. The green areas, which have lots of services and parks, have very high land value, which means we can attract better citizens and get more tax as well. Alright, so it doesn't really give you too much information when we view a building in terms of what it actually needs. Cool. Now, you'll notice there's a setting called historical building. So what that does is when a building levels up to the next level, it will actually change its icon and it will be slightly different. So sometimes you'll get an image of a building, you think, hey, that's really cool, I don't want it to change. So like this building here, let's say that, so this one is almost going to be upgraded. When it does, it will get rebuilt and it might have a different view. So if I wanted to keep this icon, but keep this view, the image of it, but let it level up, you can make it a historical building. Okay, so the historical building can still level up, but its visual appearance will be preserved, so it won't change its visual appearance. It'll stay that no matter what level it actually is. So you can do that for any building that you really like. You can make it historical, and that way it won't change. Okay, so I need to turn on the extended building level mod. So let me go back to the main menu. And then if we just go into Content Manager. So for you, if you added it, it should be automatically turned on. I turned it off by beforehand. So I'll turn it back on. There's some options there. What are the options? The opacity, compact, extended. We'll play around with that inside, I think, in the game. Alright, so I've reloaded the game. The extended building level mod is now working. So if we click on a building, you can see we get a huge amount of information now, right? Okay, so that's what it currently looks at. If we go to the options, where's the extended building level mod? Oh, it looks like you can, oh, there it is, cool. So let's change from compact to extended. Let's put the opacity right up, so that is completely opaque. Click on that, and didn't seem to change too much. Oh well, we'll keep that as it is. So you can see what things it currently has which are really good and what things are better. So parks is really good, so parks access is really good. Having access to elementary or high schools isn't that good. Fire hazard, not so great. So we could increase the make it increase its level a bit more by adding all these things into health access, death access, transport access, police access, fire hazard access. So now you know what you can do to increase it, right? We could put some more parks around here, but it's not going to increase the level of that building too much. It won't add to it too much. But these other things which are very low amounts, so parks you see is at 60%. So adding another 40% to that is probably not going to make it go up by that much. But health is at 0%. So if we added some health facilities around here, that would actually make that level up a lot better. So using the extended building level is really cool, because then it means that we can see exactly what it actually needs, and it gives you some cool information about that building as well, which is kind of cool. Alright, so that's really cool. We can see what it looks like when we look at like a school or something. So there's a park here. If we click on that, so it doesn't work for a park. So it doesn't work for service buildings. It's just for the buildings that you grow, so commercial, industrial. So again, yeah, if we look at an industrial building, so for this one, actually for industrial, they don't level up. They're basically at the highest level that they can be for any industrial building. So you can see the information about them, but they're already at the highest level. So we don't really need to worry about industrial ones. So we're more interested in our buildings that grow, like residential and commercial. Sweet, so that's the extended building level mod, so hopefully you will find that really useful as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at how we can add offices to the game and look at how we can change the default look of buildings using the building style. So over here we've got a nice little park, so it might be kind of cool to create some offices around here. So let's add in some roads. So if we use the picker mod and just pick that particular road. So we want a road to come along the back of this. So let's do it from here. Sweet, and then we can bring a road up to here. Connect that to there. Bring this road up to here. Connect that to there. So cool, that's give us a nice space for us to create some office buildings. Let's drag that out to there. Awesome. And over here would be a good place for a pedestrian path. So we can use our automatic pedestrian bridge builder. Click on that. Nice. Very nice and quick to add that in. Sweet. Alright, so that's really good. I'm going to leave the crossings here because it's not a hugely busy road, so that's okay to leave crossings there. So we're going to add some office zones into this area here. Now, one of the mistakes I did when I was learning to play City Skylines is I thought that office space is tied to the commercial demand, because I always thought offices were kind of like commercial activities. But in fact, in City Skylines, offices are like industrial buildings. So they provide services, which is like producing a good, so goods and services. Okay, so you'll only grow office buildings if you have a demand for industrial. Okay, and you'll need a good educated workforce for your offices to get the workers that they need. So if you look at our population, at the moment, not population, education. So at the moment we've got 29% educated, 34% well educated, and 14% highly educated. That's because we only put out university in the previous episode. So it's going to take a bit of time for the highly educated to come up. So because of that, you don't want to put masses of office space down straight away at the one time, even if you have a huge demand for industry, because you're not going to get all the workers that you're going to need. So you need to build up your offices slowly. So if we put in some office space here and here. So let's see how that goes. So we'll start the game running, and we'll see some offices start to build up. Cool, so they'll be at level 1 at the very start. So remember, all of these are the European style buildings. So this is a European style office building. Very European looking buildings there. Sweet. So we get some nice offices being built, and then we'll start to see some people move into those. So click on a building. We've got one out of 3 workers, so we need 1 educated, 1 well educated, and 1 highly educated at the moment. So that's going to fill up with workers pretty quickly. Cool, so you get this style of building. These are the European ones. It's a bit weird how they have their car parks out here, because how do people get their cars over here? There's no way or room for a car to get into there. So a bit superfluous having those car parks. It's just built into the actual building itself, so you can't really do much about that. You're just going to have to live with that if you want the European. So you see there's a car appeared there. I must have come through the building. So you just kind of have to live with it. Alright, so that's the European style buildings. So we want to be able to include the European style buildings. So we do that by setting the districts. So remember, we can add districts for our district zones here. So at the moment we have a district which is the High District here, the Lilac Heights District over here, the Primrose District here, the Pearl Farms District here, and then the Glade Square District over here. So what I want to do is I want to make the area that we had for our officer space, I want to make that with the vanilla buildings rather than the European style buildings. So we need to get rid of, make a hole in the district here, and then we're going to make that a new district so that we can apply it just to this particular district. So we don't apply it citywide, because then it's going to start deleting things and then making them regrow in the new district. Sweet, so we make that a new district here. So then we want to click on the name of the district, and you can see it's got default style, which is the European theme, and now it comes up with vanilla, whereas before it never had a different option. So if we choose vanilla, what it's going to do is those buildings will now disappear. You can see them disappearing because they need to be changed into the vanilla style, and then we'll get different types of buildings appear. So vanilla style is more North American style buildings. So if you like kind of North American style, you can go for that. If you like European style, you can go for that. And if you want other styles, then we can find masses of them in the Steam workshop. So I kind of like the American style buildings rather than the European ones. I think they look a bit nicer personally, but that's just me. You might be different. Sweet, and you can see that changes. Let's have a look and see what the vanilla style houses look like. So what we can do is if we just extend this out to here, right, so sometimes they don't automatically start disappearing. So what you can do is just bulldoze them and then they will regrow. So you don't want to do heaps of houses at the same time, because when you bulldoze you're going to lose population, right? So let's bulldoze all these. Sweet, and we can now see the new versions of the houses. So these are kind of the North American style houses. Kind of get little hedges and little trees there, which look quite nice. Little backyard with a sun umbrella there and a picnic table and a swing. That's pretty cool as well. So yeah, I quite like those ones, which is quite cool. So you need to remember that if you bulldoze to make them build in a new style, if there's no residential demand, they're not going to grow back again. So you have to be really careful when you do that. Sweet, so we can see that we're now building our houses in a different style, which is awesome. And we can see we've got our office buildings here. Right, so remember, office buildings is tied to your industrial demand, not your commercial demand that I had mistakenly thought of when I started learning to play the game. So that's a really useful thing to remember. Alright, well that's it for this particular episode. So we went over the automatic pedestrian builder mod, how to make you have accessibility to the vanilla style buildings and the European style buildings, and then how we can use them in the game by setting the style for that particular district, which is pretty cool. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed that episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you're welcome to give me a thumbs down. If you like this content, please give me a subscription. It just helps my videos get out there and noticed by more people as well, which will be awesome. And hopefully I will catch you in the next episode.